Hello and welcome to Respect, the Dance Fest Weekly, hosted by me, Micaya, and my beautiful co-host, Brandy Beasley.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back. We're going into year 3.
Is it real?
Yeah. We're going to get t-shirts for this, right?
We'll get Respect t-shirts. We have to. Well, I noticed you're wearing your t-shirt, your Dance Fest.
What is this? This is mixed ingredients or no? I can't.
Yeah, that's mixed ingredients.
Yeah, exactly. One of my favorite.
We always wear our Dance Fest gear. Mm-hmm. Welcome back, everyone. We are the podcast that happens seasonally every year right before the SF, San Francisco International Hip Hop Dance Fest, which is now in its 24th year.
Yes. Round of applause.
This is huge. 24 years ago, 1999, Brandy and I were 5 years old.
Exactly.
And we said, we're going to start this festival. For real, though, it has grown to be a legendary event, outstanding and one of a kind. And we are honored that it is still going. And we're also honored that we are going to, after 2 years being off, have a live show.
Oh, my goodness. In the Palace, like it should be. Loud ass music. Not too loud all the time, but like just, energizing. You feel it in your body, the crowd. Like we need that audience back. We need that audience back, and the performers need to be on that stage again.
Mm-hmm. Really? Mm-hmm. 2 years. So for the past 2 years, excuse me, we have produced a show, have we not?
We have put it together, made it happen. So that first year, what was that? Was that 2020? Fully online, everything.
Was a virtual show.
Virtual show. Yep. And then the next year was basically a viewing party. That was really cool, though. I mean, those pieces were beautiful, and you can't do that on stage. No. But, now I'm just like, what can we do now with just the combining of the things that were done in the virtual show and the viewing party. And now, the pandemic was hard, but I think people had to pivot, right? And some beautiful things did come out of it. So
that's what I'm saying. Yeah, the pandemic was hard. I'm getting choked up about it, I guess. But what we put out, and I'm going to just pat ourselves on the back, was outstanding. Mm-hmm. The show that we did in 2020 and 2021, although virtual, was outstanding and moving and heart-wrenching and beautiful. And I feel proud of us that we allowed artists to still create mm-hmm. and express, and that we were still able to share.
Yes.
However,
everybody struggled, right? And so Dance Fest is struggling. So we want to make it to that 25th year. So we are, reaching out to all the peeps, all the networks to come together, lift us up, make sure we make it to year 25. We have to make it to year 25. Oh my gosh. And so we are having our One Love fundraising event November 3rd at the Brava Theater. It's going to be so cool. There's a movie premiere featuring Feline Finesse. It's going to be fun. There's going to be raffles. There's an interactive mural. So if you've never been part of creating a mural, you're going to have to come on out and get your hands painted full of paint to help me make this mural. I'm always excited for Dance Fest events. It's just my family. Yes. Come be part of our family.
November 3rd, everything including the SF International Hip Hop Dance Fest tickets, which is happening this year, November 11, 12, and 13th. All of this is going to be at sfhiphopdancefest.com. And Tickets go on sale for One Love and for the Dance Fest on September the 1st. I don't know when this podcast will be aired, so it may be before or after, but nevertheless, you can get your tickets at sfhiphopdancefest.com. And you know what else you can get at sfhiphopdancefest.com? You can find out how to volunteer. You can get a t-shirt.
Yeah, a t-shirt.
Yeah, you're right. Doing this. We do have shirts. You can look, volunteer, you can donate, you can find out how to do a corporate sponsorship. Anytime you're looking for, or you know someone who's looking for a cool organization, nonprofit to donate to, think of the Dance Fest, because I think we're pretty cool. I think we're pretty cool.
We are pretty cool. Lots of people think we're cool, so.
Yeah. So that's kind of us trying to catch everyone up to where we are now. On the front of performing, who's performing this year, I received many applications, as I usually do, and reviewed them. I wanted to get the list of all the places that I received applications from, but it would require me trying to find that list. But I know it came from all of the continents.
Nice.
Maybe not Antarctica. But yeah, I didn't. But I did get a lot from Africa, a lot from Europe, a lot from South America, a lot from North America, and such great stuff. It's hard always, Brandy, for me to make my decision, because there's so many really talented, inspiring artists all over the world. Mm-hmm. So I have curated the show. And I'm going to be straight up. It's mostly people in the United States this year, mostly just because there's a lot of really dope artists here. But also, I just wanted to be careful with COVID, bringing a whole lot of people here from overseas.
That's right. I forget about backstage. Like, we're all kind of hugged up on each other backstage.
Right, but just can we get them on a plane?
That's true too. Yeah.
Through custom, all of that. So we have a couple of people coming from overseas, but most people are like powerhouses. And one of the people who I hired to bring dancers here is an amazing artist. And I'd like for you to introduce him, because he's our guest today.
Yes, our first guest for our third year. Okay, you ready? All right. So Darrell Friidom, with 2 I's, Dunn, is a movement composer known for pioneering the cinematic dance genre called Epiic. He is referred to as the Willy Wonka of movement. I love that. I love Willy Wonka. And his work curates worlds of movement that bridge divides amongst people through philosophy and storytelling. I love that. That touches me in so many different places, which is why I love Dance Fest and I love dance. And I'm so happy to have Friidom here with us. Welcome, Friidom.
Welcome.
Hello. How are you guys doing today?
Good. The sun's shining. Breathe.
Sun's shining. I feel it right here.
Thank you for being with us and giving us your time. We're honored to have you. We want to know who you are. We want to know about Epiic movement. We want to know about what you do. Can you give us some insight?
Yes, I can. And first off, thank you so much. Thank you guys so much for the opportunity to display our work. I'm eternally grateful. I'm super excited, super happy. I also want to thank Miss Funk, because Miss Funk is a big reason why, I was able to be here today. So I'm so excited. She's a mentor of mine as well. So I'm extremely excited for her. Epiic stands for Extraordinary People, Ideas, Imagination, and Creativity. Mm-hmm. And I came up with an acronym because I wanted people to kind of understand what it was in like one simple phrase, if I could, because I have this philosophy that I believe that everyone could be a dance artist, right, with this philosophy, right? So I wanted to come up with a way that anyone can tap into that, whether they say they can dance or not. Because dance to me is very much in the fabric of what it means to be human. So even when someone, even there's a kid nervous in my dance class, I always tell them that nervous movement that you made is a part of your movement as it is today, right? And so when they move from that space, then they start to say, whoa, everything I'm doing is a movement. So it kind of tricks people to realize that everyone is that artist with their movement when they really tap in and go into that. I started out in a dance style known as crump. I'm still a crumper. The culture is very much tied to South LA. I actually live in South LA in this art gallery, which is amazing that I'm able to still be rooted in the community, but still be rooted in the industry as well. And crump is a very expressive dance style that usually people say is aggressive, but I like to say crump is very passionate, right? Crump is a passion from the inner cities right here in this community. Todd Ice, who is the creator, big influence of mine. I grew up in Dallas, Texas, but I've had the pleasure of meeting him throughout my life and being able to talk with him, communicate with him, and really being able to understand crump in a way where I'm also distant, being from Texas, but also I'm able to understand it because the pioneers, right? So friendships with people like Concrete and B-Dash and all these amazing artists who are crumpers who are in the industry right now, but there's so many crumpers that people don't know of and so many ideas. But to couple it all into one, I used to dance to theatrical scores when I used to battle in crump as a kid, and I used to get made fun of it for a long time. But then I had mentors and other crumpers say, Friidom, we didn't say you won the battle because you were technically not crumping, right? So technically you're not crumping. And I was like, but I'm still doing the crump movements. I'm still getting bucked, right? But they're like, no, it's something different, right? So I really tapped into that, especially into my college years, and came up with this style of dance called as Epiic, right? Using these crump styles, but also using my love of film and cinema, and also using my love of other dance forms and really tapping into more human approaches to movement, right? That are very, very basic, right? Basic things that we can do every day. So that's Epiic in a long story short. Also, it kind of shows where I'm from, Dallas, Texas, but also how I'm just an amalgamation of so much of what this country is, especially cinematically, because when I think of America as the film country, right? What we put on screen, the whole world kind of regurgitates as, wow, that's America, right? And so I have this love of the film screen and the images and the motion pictures, but how it relates to human life and why is storytelling so important to people. So that's that in a nutshell.
Wow. It sounds like, and it's something I respect so much because I feel like I've been this way, is that you followed what your heart and what your soul told you to do. And it wasn't necessarily what you've seen exactly what another person did. You had to just develop your own self, and you have certainly done that. Can you remind me again, extraordinary people?
Extraordinary people, ideas, imagination, and creativity.
Wow. Okay. And because of that, and you get the whole Willy Wonka comparison.
Yeah. Oh, should I explain that?
Yeah, please.
I will explain myself.
Yeah.
But Willy Wonka, growing up, I used to want to find a way to describe the way I thought about the world. And like, whenever I wanted to find a mentor of like, okay, who is someone in life that I can emulate that is thinking the way I want to think? And I couldn't find like a person. It was always like maybe one off thing that person did that I was like, oh, okay, no, that's not it. But when I saw Willy Wonka is this kid who got obsessed with this idea around chocolate, right? And the idea of the chocolate, evolved into other aspects of who he is within the chocolate. I know it sounds crazy, but when you watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, he has all these inventions based around chocolate, right? And so that's how I think about with movement. I love dance and movement, but I also, people don't really know how to describe sometimes, like, because usually people meet me in different ways. So they either meet me on a stage, or they meet me like dancing at a session, or they'll meet me at a tech company, or they'll meet me on set and they're like, Friidom, okay, he's obviously a director, or he's obviously this, or he's obviously someone who only does movement this way. And so I had to figure out, how do I tell people in one sentence what that means? And so Willy Wonka has the gobstoppers. He has like the different machines, the squirrel. Like he has all these different things around chocolate. And I feel like movement is my chocolate, right? And finding different ways to present movement to people in the world, and having like dance. I have some ideas. I won't explain it all over the podcast, but I have some ideas for the inner city of how we can help people with movement in a way that they never thought that it was possible, even inventions that have to do with movement, right? And so as I get older and as I grow, and as people go, oh, Friidom, you should do this, right? It'll give me access to put in one of the plans that I have to help people through movement, right? So the Movement Factory will continue to grow, And last thing I'll say to that is I have this idea called the arc, right? I always thought, like, what can I leave people behind after I'm gone? And instead of me leaving behind, let's say, a building, right? Everyone has like, I'm gonna build this structure or this statue, and everyone looks at it and they go, wow, that guy who lived back then, he was a great guy, right? But in reality, I'm one of those people that think that no one really ever remembers the person who invented the wheel or the people who invented the wheel, but we have the wheel, right? And so for me, I want to leave through movement in the body, kind of mental real estate, right? And so as a Willy Wonka, I want to leave behind a legacy, not necessarily in a real estate, which I will build buildings and things, but I want to leave behind a mental real estate that people won't even know why they do that, right? They won't even know why they dance that way. They don't even know why it's in there, but it's in there because I crafted it and just shared it with others, right? It's kind of like martial arts. Like, so even the act of certain martial arts is a mental real estate. And so you may say, oh, this is Kung Fu. But if you go to like my mentor's martial arts style, it's called Baji Quan. And like, if you go really deep, it's like a family style. And sometimes there's certain movements that they don't know why they do it, but people over hundreds of years have broken in. So long story short, that's like the Willy Wonka feel. And I want it to also be a mental feel, like something that people don't even know that's there, but it's there. So.
Wow. Okay. So basically he was like a genius, chocolate genius, and I'm going to call you an artistic genius.
I be the glory. And
I want to be the first one to say that I'm looking forward to witnessing where you're going next. From here, I'm really looking forward to it because I can already see that it's going to be an interesting journey. What do you think, Miss Brandy?
Well, I think I'm digesting this all, and this is what I'm going to be thinking about as I'm like in the bed falling asleep. I'm just going to be, because I'm blown away. Which is, I'm not blown away all the time, but I'm blown away by this. And just like Micaya, I'm just like, okay, I need to be watching out for you as time goes on. I mean, I'm just imagining all different, and plus with the technology that we have and the way technology is going, and how you're talking about, family styles and things like that, and people doing the movement, not recognizing why they do the movement. I mean, that is how you kind of, the building you build or whatever it is you make, your legacy, that you're talking about just projecting your legacy into like the evolution of humankind, right? So yes, I will be thinking about that a lot. And so I am so excited to see what you're going to bring to the stage this year at the Dance Fest. And so I know you have 2 pieces. And so I want to learn about and hear about the pieces. And if you can start by sharing the names of the pieces with us.
The first piece will be called Existence. And we're going to be doing a Hans Zimmer tribute, one of my favorite composers. And then the second piece will be called Stimulus et Reparations, which will be a song that I made during the pandemic. And the meaning of it, you'll kind of see through like the musical rendition and like the words that I put inside of it as well. Yeah.
How many dancers are you using, and what styles, what forms are they doing?
Okay. Well, I have me and 4 other dancers that'll be with me for these 2 pieces. I'll explain just each person. So I have Tay White. He's an amalgamation. He's from Florida, so he has a lot of Florida dance styles within his body. He knows how to stick. I don't know if you guys know what that is as well, but like I don't want to try to do it over the podcast because I would. Oh no! I was totally. Yeah. Oh yeah.
No, I don't know. That's it.
I don't know how to do it. I don't want to try. But he's amazing at that. And
that's something for us to research later. After these podcasts, I'm always on Google looking.
I don't even want to say what it is. He does amazing Florida dance styles. Okay. I think some of them is like the Florida bounce and things like that. So I would let him kind of show that. Also, as well, he does contemporary ballet, tap jazz, and so he's well versed and trained. So he brings that into the hip hop arena. I have Animated J, powerful street dance. He does a lot of finger movement as well. So he's very articulate. Each finger, each motion is very articulate. He's eclectic in so many ways that I wish more people are able to see him. So this is a reason why I loved and wanted to bring him out. Another dancer we have is Chad Geiger. He is a phenomenal contemporary artist, phenomenal, but I used to think, oh, Chad, you wouldn't be able to do this until I'd shown. And he's one of the reasons a lot of the dancers who dance with me are the reasons why I really understood that anyone could really do anything with the right word or the right teaching format, right? But Chad, he just picks up and you're like, wow, you couldn't even tell that he didn't do hip hop. You just be like, oh, wow, oh yeah, he's got it. But like, he just kind of one of those people that blurs the lines and breaks the barrier, right, of what's possible. And then I have Malik Bannister, one of my day one epicers, the lack of a better word. His spirit is out of this world. If I say, Malik, we're going to get parachutes and we're jumping off the Empire State, he's like, say no more, say less, right? So he's a powerful all-around dancer, and each dancer will be showcasing Epiic through their styles, right? Because Epiic is more of a symphonic movement, right? So we're think of me as like the movement composer, and everyone who does the shows or pieces with me are a part of the ensemble. So each one brings a specific artistry to the format. And so through the pieces, especially through Existence, we want to show just like, oh, this artist does this artist does this artist does that. But together we do this, right? And so people can really see, right, this is a symphony rather than me forcing anyone to do anything, but it's still cohesive. The story, my part as the composer is to still bring the structure of the story and to still bring the structure of the piece. And those are the dancers. Yeah. And
so I noticed that although your base that you started in was Crump, you don't just bring Crumpers to perform with you. Tell me your decision making behind that.
Well, one, like I said earlier, whenever I would go Crump battle, right, and I would dance to the type of music I would dance to, they would say, wow, that's not technically Crump. So what I did was I tried to find out what part of it was the Crump and what part of it was the difference, right? Because, even though even though I do my own thing as Epic, when I come to the Crump arena, I still try to just crump, right? Because still respect for the style and all my I would say crump is a very new style, but I would just still say my ancestors, like my mentors and everyone in that style. But when I do Epic, really highlighting those differences between what's Crump and Epic. And now that I kind of took Epic out, then I can place Epic on anybody. And then they go, oh, this is Epic. I'm doing Epic when I do these things, right? And so there's certain things, I don't have a whole lesson over Epic right now, but there's certain things, I'll teach 3 things, but one thing is the finger roll, right? This finger roll situation here, right? So everyone does finger rolls and they're dancing, right? But I learned through my dance that whenever the roll of the finger, I can transition this hand into, let's say, different sign language or different forms of language because I learned that our face and our hand really provides the conversation between people more than just the body. So most dancers you see just do the body, but I would be like, what's the difference between this dancer and that dancer? And I realized the epic part of what makes the difference between this guy being super epic compared to that guy is the face and the hands, even if it's the same choreography, right? And so the transition of the finger rolls going in between, this is a good thing, right? This is a bad thing. If someone flicks somebody off, it automatically brings like an emotion, no matter what my face is doing. So these finger rolls transitioning between those different things is very powerful. So I can just sit there and do finger rolls and transition between good things and bad things. And then people would just automatically go, oh, I know what that means. Oh, I know what that means. Oh, I'm connected to that without me even having to lab and practice 100%. So that's like a tool of Epic is that. Another tool of Epic, let me see one that's quick. We have the 5 S's, which are stand, stability, sprint, stride, and our stare. So first is the stare, which is very powerful. Where I look at my focus point is extremely powerful. So sometimes during the piece, you'll see us literally just stare at people, but it'll be so effective because we're kind of getting into the core of the anatomy of like a human. So the stare, the stance, how we stand will be very important. So you'll see us stand specifically in certain ways. Our stability, how we keep, so like even in all dance, there's a way that we keep stable as dancers. So, you know how you say a pas de bourrée in the kickball change, step, step, step. Salsa has the top, 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 top. No matter what you do, it's this simple stability movement. We have really just about 3 or 5 that are really just simple. Every dance uses it, no matter how crazy it looks. So I teach people that stability, and they automatically, when they're doing choreography, they go, oh my God. And the last thing I'll say, I won't teach another epic concept, but the last thing I'll say is what really promotes the epic within the piece is as a freestyle dancer first, coming in as a freestyle dancer, I didn't know how to do choreography, right? And so learning choreography, I had to learn ways to get the choreography because these people were more skilled in choreography, like picking up images than I was. So I had to ignore the choreographer and then see like, what is it this choreographer is actually doing? So long story short to say, I had to use that. That's the core. That's more the basis to where Crump has its own core, right? And so I had to so now that I have the core of this epic, then I could just place that on any dancer. Even if it was someone who didn't know how to dance, I could just place the core of epic on them. And just by the roles alone, you can create the whole piece, right? And so, yeah, I'm inspired by a lot of European choreographers as well and their minimalism as well. So that helps me also they helped me actually know that it was possible, seeing a lot of these European minimalism, Greek theater, like Dimitri and Johan Borghese, like just very simple motions that I'm like, they're making millions doing these simple motions, right? But it means a lot. It means a lot. But I'm like, it doesn't have to be that. It does have to be artistic, but it doesn't have to be that artistic for people to really get it if you know what the core of what they're driving at. But that's why I chose to do not always have crumpers, but when I have crumpers, it makes it look that much crazier too.
Well, I mean, what part of what we like to do on this podcast is educate our listeners and us all the time about basic forms. And we haven't had a crumper, have we?
No.
We've had so many styles and we've had everybody. And so, I mean, I know I love everything that you've done, but like, I'm so curious already of just like them telling you this is not crump, this is. What part of it that you were doing, was it just the music that they were saying wasn't crump?
At first, it was the music. And then it was the way I jab too. So like if a crump jab, you have ba, and like these little slap and like a pickup, like stuff like that, like these pulls and these pushes, right? So, but the arms are very much more staccato, right? Some people still have character and things like that, but it still comes back to this, and that. But what I would do as a kid, I don't know why I would do it. This is why I knew I had to do something about it. But as a kid, I would tell people like, yo, man, I'm just going to have rat fingers. And I was like doing like this. And they were like, Friidom, what are you talking about? I was like doing this, or I do that. Boom, I do that. And that's something that people make fun of me for. They go, yo, Friidom. Oh, they have fun. And they love that. And now it's like a staple. They go, oh, right? The Epiic hands, right? Because as a kid, I would go, and then they'd be like, Friidom, are you trying to do magic on us? Like, what is happening?
Yes, you are doing magic on us.
Nah, it's just so funny though. But that's essentially the difference would be that. And then also sometimes I wouldn't jab. It would be the way I would start to dance and emote the piece. I didn't know what contemporary was, but I would start to kind of do contemporary movements during like a really heavy like a really heavy crump beat. I would start to do like flowing motions and people would be like, Friidom, you ain't even threw a jab yet, you know? And so I'd be like, okay. I see there's something else my body wants to kind of do, you know? Yeah.
That is beautiful. That is beautiful. Just when you have, you know, the different, you know, crump is crump, right? And full respect, right? And then you come into that and you're drawn into it, but then, you know, you just organically, something is born out of you doing crump, right? And crump coming through you. So, I mean, I think that when you get on stage at Dance Fest, there's going to be a lot of silence. I think there's going to be silence or just like hella loud.
Well, you know, I always say when people are silent, it's usually when they're moved.
Yes.
They can't really say anything, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hopefully, you know, I really want to. That's why I'm glad you chose those two pieces, because they have a very dynamic, like that kind of piece, you know, very dynamic piece, but then having something that's more rooted.
Yeah.
So where people can get, okay, this person, people are not just or they're not just people have that range. But even in the dynamic piece, you'll feel that range. But even in the more calmer piece, you'll still feel like the whoa, right? So that you can see that there really is no difference between the chaos and the creation of the Big Bang, if you will, you know.
No, that's what I like to bring. That's what kind of inspires me. And it's our first time having you on our stage. And that's always fun, you know, to have somebody new to share with the audiences here. Mm-hmm. We're excited. So we have a new thing that we created the other day, and it's called The Jar of Silly Questions. Because we like to ask the last question on a lighter note, you know. So we came up with some questions, and now I'm just going to pick one out and ask it to you. Are you ready?
Yeah, I have 2 left feet. I'm just kidding.
I need glasses. Okay. It says, What are your opinions on?
Oh no!
Which one is it?
What are your opinions on two dancers having romantic relationships in the same dance company?
My boss had a quote when I was, that's a really powerful question, by the way.
Yeah, it's not that silly, is it?
Yeah, it's not that silly. But hey, you know what? I'm here for the tough questions because life is not about being easy all the time. But my boss, when I was in college, he had a quote. He said that he used the S word, but he said, never poop where you eat. And I was like, And
yes.
that has stayed with me, you know. And there was a big artist, her name was Marina Abramovic, and she had a quote that she said, artists must never date artists. I was like, that is horrible, right? But based off of that, the idea is that you could, my thought is if you did it, if you had relations, you better be for dang sure that's your person, right? Because if you go into it for not, then you will create more harm. You know, people say, you know, and this probably goes into my philosophy of love. People say love without, you know, but love the way we have love in America is fairly new in human existence as far as the way people love in America and like the quickness that we love in America. And so, but in reality, you know, even when you look into Asian philosophies, commitment and duty is very important, right? So if you see this person that you just like, man, oh man, it's better for them to be friends, I feel, than to jump into a very serious committed relationship until you are like, we're doing this. But you can't help it if you so sure and it happens and then everything goes awry. Life was not without complications. So, but I guarantee you, most people who get in relationships is only because that person look real bomb on stage and you just want to get with it.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Well, you know, I definitely have a rule in Soul Force. One is don't fart in this rehearsal, go to outside and close the door.
Yeah,
and the other is no effing, fill in the blank. Mm-hmm. Now, you know, when they listen to me and they still do what they do, I've seen it go bad. And then I've seen it where two of my dancers are engaged to be married and they broke the rules many years ago and they've been together and he just proposed to her, you know. So like you said, maybe they really were the one for each other and they had no choice but to gravitate.
I think the friendship is the most important part though too. Maybe I don't know how they got together, but maybe they really established more of a friendship for a while, for a long time before it got really serious, you know, because I don't know. I feel like in life, you have to, for everything you do, you count the cost, not just the financial, but also the spiritual, the physical, the mental, you know, and if you're about to say yes to something that has too many costs. And that's what I was telling you too, before we got on the call, like a week, like every Sunday, I try to assess the cost of like, okay, what did you do this week? What did you throw on yourself? What did you pay for? Did you know you weren't supposed to pay for? And I go, what are the things that I should keep? And then one of the things that, although hard, I have to deal with this. If I don't, then my life there will be consequences, whether I like it or not, you know? So it doesn't matter what I think about it. It's like, what is the truth of the reality of the situation? Yeah.
Very conscious and thoughtful and insightful of you. Very mature. Right?
Still learning. I'm still growing every week.
Every week, right?
That's good.
Well, I think those are all of our questions.
Yeah.
Yes, we are so happy to have started our third season of the Respect podcast with you. Like I said, I have a lot to think about for like days. Hey. Probably up until I see these pieces. Oh my goodness.
Ask me any question you want.
All right.
Yes, everybody just know that we are live again at the San Francisco International Hip Hop Dance Fest. Friidom will be there at both Program A and Program B. He'll be doing one of the pieces in one of the programs and the other piece in both, so you will be able to come and see it all. Where at and when, Ms. Brandy?
What? November 11th, 12th, 13th at the Palace of Fine Arts. We've been there for a minute.
Yeah.
Come on out. Yes, it's beautiful. Oh, I'm so glad to be sitting in those seats with people on stage and tech rehearsal, and I'm going to be tired afterwards.
Always are. Yes, we always are. Yeah, so everything, that's what's going on. One Love is happening in November, just a kickoff for Dance Fest season. We've got people coming to San Francisco to share their artistry with us as usual. We are also trying to build ourselves back so that we can have a 25th year. All of this and more can be found at sfhiphopdancefest.com. Once again, Friidom, thank you so much for your time and sharing so much for all of us. And until next time, much respect, everyone.
Be excited.